Way to the top just like I thought. Yeah, hold out for the big deal. Round and round, no pinwheel. No way to the top just like I thought. But I might turn around and go. Everything I know got me running all alone. So I might need another way. Even when I'm paid, I don't even wanna stay. So I might turn around and go. Everything I know got me running all alone. So I might need another way. Even when I'm paid, I don't even wanna stay. Oh yeah. Even when I'm paid, I don't even wanna stay. Oh yeah. Even when I'm paid, I don't even wanna stay. Oh yeah.
Look, hey, give a fuck what you niggas on, cause I'm on the bigger and better things, yeah, yeah. I don't want no smoke, these niggas, they run and tell everything, yeah, yeah. And my bitch is beautiful, and I ain't into cheating unless for hey, yeah. Remember my pockets were small, but I focus up and now I'm up on my bread, yeah. Remember I ain't had shit, it was about 5 of us in the same space, when I cheat on the mattress. And you feel me if you was in the same place, and that bitch was an actress. I ain't know she could lie with a straight face, I would tell you what happened, but I said I told God when I say my grace. Cause I'm thankful for my past, that shit landed me in my bag. Now I'm up my ex bitch mad, cause you know she did me bad. And look, I don't hold grudges, but I went through all that bullshit for nothing, but now I'm on something. And I used to be broke, I was still out of public, so my mom was frontin'. Talking about we had rent, but we end up with notices all in the oven. And I ain't for sex, now that shit's overrated, I'm here for your loving. Hey, but don't get me wrong, I be feeling the vibe every time that we fucking. And next time I get head, baby, just use your thought, I don't want you to touch it. I just touched on the LAX, girl, bring over the vibes, Lord. I won't go back and forth no more, I don't got time for it. This time last year I was broke, I ain't had nothing in the ground for it. But the shit switched up in middle, man, I just thank God for it. I ain't had no hope no more, nah. I'm praying on something to compensate me, time and took its course off. And I won't take time to know you, how I'm blamed, please take your shorts off. Man, I know I'm grimy, but I'm scarred, no heart, I'm just a corpse off. Give a fuck what you niggas on, cause I'm on the bigger and better things, yeah, yeah. I don't want no smoke, these niggas, they run and tell everything, yeah, yeah. And my bitch is beautiful, and I ain't into cheating unless it's for hey, yeah. Remember my pockets are small, but I focus up and now I'm up in my bread, yeah. Give a fuck what you niggas on, cause I'm on the bigger and better things, yeah, yeah. I don't want no smoke, these niggas, they run and tell everything, yeah, yeah. And my bitch is beautiful, and I ain't into cheating unless it's for hey, yeah. Remember my pockets are small, but I focus up and now I'm up in my bread, yeah. Give a fuck what you niggas on, cause I'm on the bigger and better things, yeah, yeah. I don't want no smoke, these niggas, they run and tell everything, yeah, yeah. And my bitch is beautiful, and I ain't into cheating unless it's for hey, yeah. Remember my pockets are small, but I focus up and now I'm up in my bread, yeah.
we switch up. Baby, you playing. Don't even match, emotions are crazy like baby, what's up now? I don't really get it. I think I got caught. What the fuck you saying? It's not all my fault, so baby, can you slow down? You shouldn't go now. You playing games and I don't like that, no, I don't like that, no. Let's go for a drive right now. If you with it, hit my line right now. Got something on your mind right now. We're kicking and we're going for a ride. Let's go for a drive right now. If you with it, hit my line right now. Got something on your mind right now. We're kicking and we're going for a ride. I can never tell what you want from me. I don't even know what you be playing. When I already said you don't want from me. I heard you ain't the same when I'm around, round. And if it's all a game, then I'll be out. Let's go for a drive right now. If you with it, hit my line right now. Got something on your mind right now. We're kicking and we're going for a ride. Let's go for a drive right now. If you with it, hit my line right now. Got something on your mind right now. We're kicking and we're going for a ride. Cover them up so you don't see beyond the mask. My world's a dying star. Falling for you is bury me in smoke and ash. In smoke and ash. Me in smoke and ash.
Good evening, you beautiful people. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday evening, and today we're going to talk about NBA playoffs. I'm going to hop into the Discord, and I'm bringing in. Hold on, I forgot to pause my music. I always forget to pause my music for some reason. But today, I'm going to hop into Discord, and I'm going to bring in. I know it's Monday. I think I said Monday. I'm pretty sure I said Monday. I don't know what I said. It's been a long Monday. Like I said, I'm going to hop into Discord. I want to bring in my cousin and my friend David. We're going to talk about NBA. Wrote down some stuff. Hopefully they'll drag me in real quick. Right now I'm going to be waiting. We got some questions to ask them. Hopefully they will drag me in here real quick.
Here
Oh,
he is.
they brought me in. Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, what's up, you mother father?
Oh man, is Isaiah in here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yes. Dude, I've been so pumped for this. I don't know why I've been so pumped for this. We're just gonna be talking NBA. That's all. I don't know why, but I'm so pumped to be doing this with y'all. I don't know, it's like a dream of me to, talk basically sports with y'all.
I'm ready.
Some dream, you already said the wrong date.
What did I say? I thought I saw it said Monday, bro.
It's okay. We forgive you.
Oh,
It is Monday.
sheesh.
I debated getting offline because of it, but here I am.
Oh, bro. Trying to bring up my live stream. No, there it is. Okay. Plus, I got to bring up my notes, too. Okay. So, you guys saw, Stephen Curry winning the scoring title last night. Well, no, was it last night? Yeah, I think it was last night against the Memphis Grizzlies. He was putting up 46 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 9 from the three-point range, averaging 32 points, 5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, and 26.37 minutes per game. Do you guys think Stephen Curry honestly deserved winning the scoring title this year the way he's been playing?
Oh, dude, 100%. He outscored second place by... Actually, never mind. I actually misread that. He only outscored Damian Lillard by about 100 points, so...
David?
Yeah, their averages was close, wasn't it? Or no, the averages were a little farther off, but the total points was close, right?
Yeah, Beal was actually in second with 31.3 points a game.
That's what I thought.
The total points was Curry finished with 2,015 points. Lillard finished with 1,928. And Jokic was right behind him.
The
Hmm
Warriors are going to basically be riding on Stephen Curry throughout the playing games. If they make the playoffs, I think they will be riding on Curry because I think Curry can carry him, but it depends on how much he can carry the Warriors in the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. And tomorrow he's going to have a big night, but I know that he will, just based off how he's performed this whole season. I'm expecting big numbers.
Oh yeah, same here. Like speaking of,
Or not tomorrow, Wednesday.
yeah, Wednesday. They play Wednesday, week 1 against the Los Angeles Lakers. But we'll get down to that because week 1 is tomorrow of the play-ins. It's game 1 is the Indiana Pacers versus the Charlotte Hornets. Got like a gnat on my nose. Charlotte Hornets. Then game 2 is the Washington Wizards and Boston Celtics. We'll talk about game 1, Indiana Pacers versus the Charlotte Hornets. How do you guys think, or who is going to win game 1 of Indiana Pacers versus Charlotte Hornets, or who's going to win the series?
What?
I actually know nothing about those two teams because I've not watched much of the NBA this year. But I'm going to just go with Charlotte because they got LaMelo, and I'm kind of cheering for him. But other than that, I have no clue about those two teams.
Well, I know Sabonis. He's doing really good this season, and but I don't know. Since it's just one game, though, I feel like LaMelo will have a good game. Maybe they'll win it, but I don't know. My final prediction, I think I'm gonna go with the Pacers taking that.
I can agree with both of y'all. I think that game will be a really good game because, they got a good point guard in LeVert. He couldn't stay healthy with the Nets. The Nets traded him, was it to Houston first, or did they just straight traded him? I think they straight traded him to the Pacers. I can't remember.
Yeah, it went
I
straight
think
to
they
him.
did.
But then he had to sit out because they found that spot on him.
Oh, yeah, but if
Yeah.
LeVert can, play like he did before he got hurt at the Nets, and Sabonis can ball out, and, they got a good center in Turner. That game's going to be good, like I said. Then you got the Charlotte Hornets, like Isaiah said, with LaMelo. I think it depends on how LaMelo Ball plays, because LaMelo Ball, he's only a rookie, and it's his first playing game. Will the pressure get to him? We don't know. But I would honestly like to see the Charlotte Hornets beat Indiana because I'm a LaMelo fan. I'm starting to become a LaMelo fan also. He's young. He has better hype coming out of his rookie year into his rookie season because Lonzo had a lot more hype, but Lonzo didn't, end up living it up, but LaMelo did. But I think I'm going with Isaiah on this one. I think Charlotte will pull out. I think Charlotte wins by at least 5 against Indiana. I think it's going to come down to fourth quarter, in my opinion.
It'll for sure be a close game. The only reason I go against Charlotte is just because they've never been a winner, and I don't know. I just don't really have faith in them. I do have faith in LaMelo though, but I don't know. I'm going to go with Indiana. I'm sticking with mine.
Plus, I think
They've played 3 times this year, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Hornets.
I think, honestly, in my opinion, Terry Rozier is going to have to play well. There's some games, Terry Rozier will go off, and there's some days that Terry Rozier won't even show up. Like, he'll only score 10 to 15 points, but I think for Charlotte to win against Indiana, LaMelo, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and heck, even P.J. Washington's all going to have to play really good. They can't come in basically game 1 against Indiana and slack around. They got to bring in their best A game to move on to be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. It's wild to me too, like this play-in, like where it's just one game. Literally anything can happen. Like, I mean, you could have the best team playing the worst team. If it's just one game, though, it's gonna come down to heart, like more than anything.
I agree.
Whoever wants it more.
Yeah, I think this game. I don't really think it matters who wins this game. I think whoever wins will lose to the loser of Boston and Washington.
Yeah,
anyway.
because the loser of the game is automatically out, but the winner, they move on to play the loser of Washington Boston, which is what we're about to talk to, because game 2 tomorrow is Washington Wizards versus the Boston Celtics. For me, I've said it every time in my podcast that it depends what Boston comes out. If it's the red hot Boston Celtics that can blow out a team in the East by 20 points, or if it's the Boston Celtics that shows up and loses by 30 points to the teams that they should be easily beaten, or is it going to be the Washington Wizards, a healthy Washington Wizards? Because we know that Bradley Beal, I saw today where Bradley Beal will not be 100% healthy for tomorrow's game against Boston. So exactly what is your guys' thoughts about game 2 going into tomorrow?
This is where I have a theory.
Okay, I want to hear that theory.
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh.
If you win this game, that gives you a date with the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Washington, you're playing pretty good here.
I got what
do
you're
you
saying.
lose to Boston to avoid Brooklyn? Because the 76ers, yeah, they're the first seed, but they're also the 76ers. They've never performed in the playoff.
I agree.
That is my theory. I don't think Russ would ever lose the game on purpose. But
his team might.
I actually seen someone on Twitter say that the loser of that game might end up being the winner, because that means you avoid Brooklyn.
I could see that.
Yeah. And like you were saying too, they'll for sure beat the loser of.
Oh yeah, or
the
they
other
should.
game. Well, it is one game, like I was saying, but in theory they should.
Yeah, because the way I see it, that whole upper half, if Washington falls and plays Philly, they could make a run on that upper half there, because the Knicks and Atlanta, they're both good, but I don't know, man. The way Washington's been playing, I'd put them over the Knicks and the Hawks.
I agree. I mean, it depends on which. For me, it depends on how healthy Bradley Beal can get throughout the playoffs if, they make it. Because, like I said, they say Bradley Beal's not at 100% healthy, but, Bradley Beal is still a scorer. He came in, third place in, the leading scorer in this year's points leader. But, like I said, second place, you said?
Yeah,
Yep,
second.
Bradley Beal finished. Hold on, because I got their notes pulled up here. Oh, I gotta scroll up. Hold on. Here we go. Beal finished with 31.3 points a game, and Curry finished with 32. So he was only 0.7, I think. 0.7 behind the scoring leader.
So for me, I'm, honestly, my dad's a Wizards fan, and for me, I think they could maybe possibly take Brooklyn to 5 or 6 games. But for me, I agree with Isaiah's theory. I think the better way for them is to go lose and play Philly, because Philly only really has Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. If you honestly stop Joel Embiid, I think you win the series, because Joel Embiid's really, their only threat when it comes to the playoffs. They do have Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is a good role player for them, a good scorer when they need him to be. But I feel like if you honestly stop Joel Embiid and you can, stop Ben Simmons or score on Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is running for Defense Player of the Year. I feel like if you can score on Ben Simmons, when whoever he's guarding, I feel like you have a good chance of beating Philly. Boston, if they win and go against Brooklyn, I see Brooklyn winning against Boston in 5.
Yeah. I'm honestly going to go ahead. I'm going to say that Washington is going to take this game, because I feel like Westbrook is just going to have a monster game in terms of scoring and all around. But I think he's going to put up some big numbers. Even with Bill not being 100%, I don't think Westbrook is going to take the chance of having to play a second game. Just to his competitive nature, I think he's just going to absolutely ball the F out.
Oh, yeah. And also, even though it sounds scarier playing the Nets don't play much defense, and Washington is actually third in the league in points per game, only 2 points behind the Brooklyn Nets. So you might just take your chances and say, we're just going to try to outscore them.
Yeah.
Because we know if Washington plays Brooklyn, let's just go ahead and say Washington plays Brooklyn in the first round of the playoffs. Listen, both teams are going to get their points. For me, I think Russell can lock down. I mean, we know Kyrie, James Harden, and Durant, they're going to get their points. But for me, when Russell, plays defense, he plays really good defense. Whoever he guards, he can shut him down, because I remember there was one streak that Curry was on. He was averaging like 30 to 40 points a game, like in 5 games until he played Washington. Then when he played Washington, he had like one of his worst games in like the season because Russell guarded him. So for me, I think Russ could shut down Kyrie when it comes to playing defense on him.
I agree with the point about defense for Westbrook all up until you have him play against Damian Lillard, because that's just not been a good matchup for him ever. But that don't have anything to do with that, but just his defense. He is wild good against most people, but Damian Lillard just GD destroys him. But yeah, against Kyrie, against smaller built point guards, I 100% agree, because he is just a freak of nature. He's humongous to be the size that he is.
Agree, but I think Boston and Washington, I think that's going to be a good game tomorrow. Also with Indiana and Charlotte, it's going to be interesting to see who wins those games and who goes where comes to brackets, because like I said, the winner moves on into Boston and the Wizards game move on to Brooklyn. Then the loser of that game goes on to the next play-in to see if they end up losing or they go in and play Philly. Overall, I think it's going to be a Boston versus Charlotte to see who moves on to play Philly in round 1.
Yeah.
Then we're going to, I think, Wednesday is the most anticipated, play-in game, because, of course, game 1 is the San Antonio Spurs versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Then game 2 is the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. We'll get to that in a second, but we got the San Antonio Spurs versus Memphis Grizzlies. We got a young Memphis Grizzlies. They didn't make the playoffs. No, they did not make the playoffs last year. But we got a young Memphis Grizzlies team in Morant versus a somewhat scrappy San Antonio Spurs. What's your guys' take on the Memphis Grizzlies versus San Antonio Spurs?
I feel like that the Grizzlies are just gonna mop the floor with them. If I'm gonna be straight up honest with you, I mean I haven't heard.
That was my take too.
I haven't heard anything about San Antonio. The only player I know now is freaking DeRozan, and he's never been clutch in the playoffs or anything. So.
No, man,
I know two people on that team. I know the female coach, and I know DeRozan.
The Spurs, they do got, a good young point guard in Murray. He's not, no rookie or he's been in the league for quite young, but he's still young. He's a good point guard. He's not a scoring point guard, but he's more of a, a rebounder and assist. He's more of a contributor when it comes to playing the point guard. Then you got, DeRozan. DeRozan, he's not great at shooting the three, but when he needs to shoot the three, he'll shoot the three, but his main game is in the paint, is mid-range, because he's, like, if he was playing in the old school, DeRozan, he would fit well in, like, old school with, like, when Kobe was, like, young, Kobe Bryant, like, when Jordan was playing, he might have fit well in Jordan's era, because just the way his game is built around.
Oh, yeah, you can't play with the mid-range anymore today. You'll get blown out of the water.
Oh, yeah, I agree. So, for me, I think, like you guys said, I think you guys both said Memphis is going to win, and I agree. I think Memphis is going to win. I think Morant goes off. I think Morant pops off because they got a good center, and I can't remember his name. They got a good center. You got Morant, which is a good up-and-coming point guard with Grizzlies. Then you got Dylan Brooks is averaging like 20 points a game, a decent shooting guard. Then you got Grayson Allen, which is having it. I mean, from what I'm seeing, Grayson Allen for Memphis Grizzlies right now is having a decent year. Isn't it like his second year, Isaiah, that he's on Memphis?
I think it's his third. No, yeah, second.
But,
he was in Utah first, I think.
Yeah, his first year he got drafted by Utah, but then he went to Memphis. He's having a pretty good year with Memphis from what I'm seeing. He's been like averaging like almost 15 points a game, I think.
Yeah, I mean the Spurs they're gonna lose here, and then whoever loses, like I kind of want to see a pissed off LeBron play that poor Spurs team because he's gonna absolutely wreck it.
Oh God.
Like LeBron would drop 50 if the Lakers were to lose and they played the Spurs, and then the Spurs were to somehow win, it would be a freaking slaughter. Like
because the winner of the Memphis and San Antonio goes into the next playing game. Then they would be waiting on the winner of Game 2 of Wednesday's night. Oh, loser. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, loser of the 7th and 8th game. Thank you for correcting me. But which is Los Angeles Lakers versus Golden State. Now, for me, I've been thinking about this all day. I think it's going to be one of the best games probably being played in this year's playoff because you got LeBron James, AD. Well, you got a somewhat healthy LeBron and seems like a healthy AD going against a really good defense, Golden State Warriors, and a really, really hot Stephen Curry.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP. Really MVP in my opinion in Wednesday's game. So what's your guys' opinion, or who do you guys think is going to win the Los Angeles and Golden State game?
As much as it effing pains me, I've thought about this a lot today too. I really feel like that the Lakers are going to underestimate the Warriors and that Curry is going to absolutely just blow them out of the water. And, I mean, it still may be a close game, but I think he's going to have a huge night. And I really think they're going to win. I hate to say that because I don't like betting against my boy, but I really think that's what's going to happen. I'm afraid that they're going to just underestimate them.
Well,
For me, I won't. Hear me out. For me, I want the Lakers to lose because if they win, they end up playing Phoenix in the first round of the playoffs. For me, I don't want them playing Phoenix because I actually want Phoenix to make it far into playoffs because I want to see what Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and Ayton does in the playoffs this year. I don't want them to play Lakers in the round one. So for me, I want the Lakers to lose to end up playing Memphis, and then the Lakers will end up beating Memphis to go on and play Utah. And I keep on saying this. I said it in my last couple of podcasts when I talked about NBA. I always said that this year's Utah Jazz is the most overrated team in the playoffs this year. I call them the Houston Rockets, in my opinion. So for me, I want the Lakers to lose against the Warriors so the Warriors can play Phoenix. So the Lakers can, I think the Lakers can beat Memphis and Utah.
well, I thought about it as well, and I've learned to never bet against the King. Curry needed Kevin Durant's help to take down LeBron James with a healthy Klay Thompson, with a good Draymond Green at the time, and in my opinion, a better supporting staff. Playoff LeBron's just different. I think playoff LeBron is going to show up. Him and AD are going to do their thing. The players around LeBron are going to do what they do in the playoffs. They're going to play freaking out of their minds. And I actually am going to go with the Lakers. I've been picking the Warriors all week. But then today I was sitting there thinking about it. And I just do not. I'm never going to bet against LeBron in the playoffs, especially in a play-in game.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. The only reason that I am iffy about it is just because of the ankle injury.
Yeah, see, that's I thought about that too, because let's say he is still hurt and he's just trying to force it. Then the best thing that could happen, sadly, might be an early exit to heal.
Yeah,
but the Lakers and LeBron's been so quiet about it, so I don't know.
I feel like the way that he's talked about the injury, I feel like, and especially since you had told me that he somewhat got hurt again yesterday, I feel like he's going to play less aggressive, especially at first, play less aggressive unless he has to win. And that scares me because if you have to play aggressive against Curry. If you don't, you're going to be completely.
You can't slack off on Curry because if you slack off, he's going to easily score on you. You got to basically, as soon as he crosses the half court, you got to put your body on it. You can't let him have like an inch of breathing room, or if he does, he's going to shoot that three and just make it in your eye and just be like, ha 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 ha, I made it.
And my fear too is who's going to guard him.
That's true.
I don't know because.
I mean, they got Schroeder, LeBron, but Schroeder's not. I mean, Schroeder can play defense, but he's not the best defensive player when it comes to guarding Curry. I mean, they could put LeBron on him, but because they don't have Clay, they don't have they don't have Clay or Durant. Durant's on Brooklyn. But really, the only main scorer they truly have, like their threat, is Curry. I mean, yeah, the Warriors do have, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins. But, like, their main threat is Curry. If they stop Curry, they move on, they win. But also, it just depends on how healthy and how LeBron plays. I mean, from what I saw for the last 2 games LeBron's played, I mean, he looks like, he's back towards normal self, that he's still averaging like 25 points a game. I think yesterday he had like 25 points, 7 rebounds, or I can't remember what he put up yesterday or the day after that he put up. But for me, I think their best bet to put on Curry is LeBron, but I think they're going to put Dennis Schroeder probably on Curry.
because that's probably their best matchup to go with. Because with Curry speed, I think LeBron just won't be able to keep up with Curry with his ankle as of right now.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it too. And if you put LeBron on Curry, Curry's going to run him to death, and they don't want that for the long run too. Because if he's running him and tiring him out this game, then that could affect them later when it actually matters more.
I think this game will be a really important game. This game I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on this game, of course, because the history that LeBron's had with Curry and the Warriors. I think everyone's going to be watching this game. I think this is the most anticipated game, or one of the top 5 matches that will probably be in this year's playoffs, because, of course, like I said, you'll have Stephen Curry versus LeBron, because they played like 4 times against each other when LeBron was with Cleveland. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be good. I think you're going to see the best out of Curry because he doesn't want to lose. Neither does LeBron. So I think this game is going to be really fun and exciting to watch. So for me, I think I'm going with... I think the Lakers are going to win, but as much as I don't want them to win, I think the Lakers end up winning. So we'll have a Lakers versus Memphis. Who do you guys think will end up winning this game?
If it goes to what now? Did you say if it went to Lakers and Memphis playing?
Like I said, Lakers will end up beating Golden State. So the Lakers will be in the 7th seed. So it'll be Golden State and Memphis in the next round in the play-ins, determined to see who gets the 8th seed. So who do you guys think will win the Lakers and Golden State? Then whoever wins against or when they play Memphis.
Honestly, I don't really know. I think that one could be a toss-up because I don't know. I just don't. I don't know how much Golden State will really care if they lose.
Yeah, the momentum. I think the big thing, if they lose against the Lakers, I think they're done because their momentum's going to be gone. I don't think the fight is going to be in them at that point.
So
if they do lose.
So for us, I think we're all going with the Lakers winning against Golden State in the first round of play and play Phoenix, correct?
I'm saying that the Warriors are going to win against the Lakers. I mean, I don't want to bet against LeBron by any means, but the ankle stuff, it's just going to depend on how he comes out. Because if he's skittish and not as aggressive, then Curry's going to light him up. And by the time he gets aggressive, it's going to be too late.
Technically, he has 2 days off of rest right now, so it depends on how the ankles, rest up until it comes to Golden State.
Yeah.
Okay, So the best odds to win the finals came out today, and I want to know what your guys' thoughts of it. Number 1 is, of course, the Brooklyn Nets at 11-5. The Los Angeles Lakers have the second best odds, even though LeBron's ankle. They're at 4-1. Clippers are number 3 at 7-1. Jazz at number 4, 7-1 also. 76ers at 5 with 15-2. The Bucks are at number 6 with 9-1. Suns are at 14-1. Nuggets are 28-1. Heat 35-1. And the Dallas Mavericks are at number 10, 40-1. What's your guys' thoughts on the finals odds? For me, it's interesting to see how they have the Lakers at number 2, even though they don't know how healthy LeBron's going to be when it comes to the playoffs. I thought the Knicks or the Suns would have better odds than the Lakers. But when I saw this, the Lakers have the better odds, I was honestly shocked.
Well, I think they have the better odds too because they're going for a repeat season, and they still kind of have the same squad that they did have.
And it's
and it's LeBron F and James. He
I
should
mean,
be.
the only
They
teams
should have
that
the
have
best
taken
odds.
down LeBron are teams like the Nets.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was the one like legit loss he had. Oh, well, there's multiple legit losses, obviously, but the one here recently, since he's really started just dominating, was to the Warriors pre KD when Steph and Clay beat him once, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, they did.
They beat him once because that was the year that
That was the year
Kyrie
that they-
and Love
Clay
was both
broke
out.
out with all that crap, right?
No, it was the year that Kyrie and Kevin Love was both out. But LeBron still took that team to six games though.
Oh yeah, and I'm still pissed he didn't win the Finals MVP that year.
Oh yeah, because he was averaging a triple double that season. He should have
Yeah.
honestly. He would have been the first player to win Finals MVP that lost the Finals.
Well,
Yeah.
Jerry West did it a long time
Oh, yeah.
ago, but he would have been like one of the first like recent player to do it.
But for me,
Yeah, I don't. I think Finals MVP just doesn't mean shit anymore.
mm-mm.
No, it
I-
doesn't.
I said the S word. I'm sorry.
it's whatever. But
But I don't know. Because that year especially, yeah, he should have won it. And then, which year was it? Shoot. There was one year KD won it with Golden State. Whenever I really thought that it could have went to Curry easily,
agree.
Yeah.
but
I-
it went to KD just because he had those two big shots over LeBron. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
and then too, talking about that, Iguodala won Finals MVP for
Yeah,
stopping LeBron.
yeah,
Stopping
like,
LeBron when he averages a triple double. What the
Yep.
F, NBA?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Actually, I was thinking of the KD one. That's the year that I knew someone else won it that should not have won it.
That's all right. LeBron got his payback. That block is on Iguodala's head for the rest
Dude,
of
that was an
eternity.
amazing block. Like that will be one of the best. I think that will be one of LeBron's best moments in his career. A crucial stop in the finals, because that stop led to a huge Kyrie Irving 3 in the finals.
Yes.
But back to
Dude, I will never forget that because Iggy just should have known. Like, you should know that when you're playing LeBron, you have like anyone. Everybody says it. If you have a fast break against LeBron, you need to check your back
yep.
because he does not give up on plays.
Nope. But back to the odds. You think, the Knicks and the Phoenix would have good odds, but looking at the, best odds, they don't even have the Knicks in there, but they do have the Suns at 7. But you think, Knicks have a somewhat odds in there, top 10 odds, or Phoenix has higher odds than they do, but I'm honestly shocked that they're just not higher odds than they are in the playoffs, because New York Knicks, when it comes to playoffs, I think they end up making it further than most people have them going. I think they end up beating whoever wins the Philly and Boston game. I think they end up beating whoever, because Julius Randle has been playing really good ball lately. Well, he's been playing really good ball this whole entire season. He's improved his game tremendously for me, and I've honestly started to like Randle. He's tough. He doesn't care what other opponents think. He will go out there and drop like 40 points, 13 assists, 12 rebounds. For a big man like him, it's impressive. So for me, I think New York should have better odds than the Clippers. I think they should be at number 3 for me for the better odds to win the NBA Finals this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've proven that they can contend with good teams. It's just, I don't know. This whole season has been really weird to me. But
Yeah, I mean, the Nets. If it wasn't for them, like, pretty much just sitting all their starters for half the season, they probably finished with a 51-21 or 52-20 record, and they're probably up on top. The 76ers played with injuries. The East is just all messed up. Like, those records are some crap.
yeah,
I think the East is up for grabs, and in the West, I think it's the Lakers to lose. I mean, Jared Dudley did say that it's going to be a hard path for the Lakers to repeat again, but I think it's the Lakers to lose because looking at all the teams in the West, you got Utah, the Clippers, Dallas, Denver, Portland, and Phoenix. All those teams are easily to beat. Like I said, Utah is basically the Houston Rockets when James Harden was playing for Houston. They're really good in the regular season, but in the playoffs, they're a no-show. They choke. They end up choking in the playoffs. Then you got the Clippers. Depends on how well Kawhi and Paul George play. Remember last year in the bubble, Paul George didn't even show up, ended up tanking in the playoffs, made them lose. Then you got the Dallas Mavericks. Luka. Can Luka stay healthy? Can Porzingis stay healthy? How well can both of them play good together long enough to last against the Clippers? Then you got the Denver Nuggets. All Denver really has is Jokic. Whatever Jokic can do and how far Jokic can take Denver is how Denver is going to do, because they do got Michael Porter Jr. He's been doing well since Jamal's been out. But for me, it just depends on how well Jokic does. Then Portland is a team for me to keep an eye on because they got Damian Lillard. They got McCollum. They got Norman Powell from the Raptors. They got their center back at the end of the year. Then they got Carmelo Anthony that can catch hot in the playoffs. Then you got the Phoenix Suns, a young, good, three trio in Phoenix, and Devin Booker, Ayton, and Chris Paul. So for me, I think their toughest opponent will be the Phoenix Suns for the Lakers. So for me, I think that's who is going to be the toughest opponent for the Lakers is Phoenix Suns. But like I said, I think it's the Lakers that lose in the West.
Wait, so you think the Lakers are going to win out in the West, or you think that they're not going to win out in the West?
I think the Lakers are going to win.
Pretty much saying that if they don't, they choke.
Yeah, because I think the teams. I think their hardest opponent will be Phoenix. Like I said, I think everyone else they can beat, but I think their hardest opponent will be the Phoenix Suns, which will probably be the round one opponent if they beat Golden State in the play-ins.
Well, the good thing is, too, if the Lakers do win out of the West, being in the position that they're in, their opponents are just going to get, well, statistically speaking, their opponents are going to get easier. If they go in at the 7th seed, then they'll play the number 2. And realistically, you would think that it would be a little easier for them to go that route, and then maybe LeBron will be rested enough to take on more than likely the Nets in the finals or whoever. It's been a wild season. Anything can happen.
I'm thinking kind of the opposite of what Nick said. I think in the East, it's the Nets to lose. They shouldn't lose. It's playoff time now. All three of them are I think, going to play well. Miami or Milwaukee could give them a fight just because they're both. Miami's a good defensive team, or they were. I haven't really watched them much this year, but I think the Nets will coast through it unless Washington gives them. That's to me that's the team that the Nets don't want to play around because Westbrook's going to give you a fight.
Yeah.
But
I think
Brooklyn should sweep through, not sweep like 4 over everybody. I think they'll walk through pretty easily.
I think I'm the opposite.
Honestly, same with the Lakers.
I think I'm the opposite of you when it comes to the Eastern. I think the East is wide open. I think anybody can win the East. I've been saying it for this year when it went to the season and after the All-Star break. I think Brooklyn's beatable. I really do. I think Brooklyn is beatable because they could. Washington, they're really hot right now. I think they end up playing Brooklyn round 1, but I think Brooklyn takes it in 5 or 6. Then they will end up playing Miami and Milwaukee. In my opinion, I'm not being biased because I'm a Miami fan, but I truly do think Miami beats Milwaukee because when Miami's clicking, they end up winning and they end up playing really well basketball. So for me, I think Miami can upset Brooklyn because when Jimmy Butler is playing good and he stays healthy, I think Miami wins it and ends up beating Brooklyn in round 2 of the playoffs in the East.
That Jim, that's bold.
I mean, I'm taking it now. I'm taking it to the grave
Wow, man.
right now.
I'm a little biased just because I am a KD fan, but I just don't. I don't know. That team is just unreal. Kyrie, Harden, Blake Griffin's playing well now. Like you gotta. I don't know. I just think it's gonna be some. I think this is gonna be one of the worst playoffs in the East.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think so.
I think this has potential to be one of the worst playoffs ever. Because due to the Lakers' injuries, they are a lower seed. So they're going to... I know like that should make it more fun, technically, but I think they're going to run through... I think Boston... I think Brooklyn runs through. And then I think that series will be fun. But... I don't know, man. My gut's just telling me that this is just going to be another one of those not really a stain, but another one of those losses for LeBron. And it sucks for him because he keeps having to play teams like Brooklyn. He has to go up against freaking God squads every season now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to dethrone LeBron. Everyone's like, okay, LeBron is still, balling out, averaging almost a triple-double a season almost. Still, declaring he is the best. He is, don't get me wrong, he is the best still. Until he starts declining, he will be the best. He's still sitting on that throne. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and say my NBA playoff predictions, and I want to hear you guys. But for me, I think it's going to be Philly versus Lakers in the finals.
That Jim.
I'm going bold because I really do think Miami beats Brooklyn in 7 games.
I don't think Miami gets past Milwaukee.
I don't think so either. But then again, Milwaukee hasn't done anything in the playoffs, and they've pretty much had the same team for a couple of years now. So
if you stop Giannis,
Philly will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again, but I think Brooklyn beats them 5 or 6. Like I said, I just think this year's playoffs has a chance to really suck. Like, I actually think the most entertaining series might be Milwaukee-Miami.
I think
That has a good chance to be a good series.
I think the most interesting series will be the Lakers and Golden State, even though that's not technically a playoff, but it's a play-in. But for me, I think that's
one game though.
I know, but
now, if that was a best of 7, that would be interesting. That would be fun as hell to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your guys' predictions? I said my Lakers and 76ers in the finals. Who you guys going with?
Well, I think another interesting game to watch is going to be Portland versus the Lakers. Because I think Portland will beat Denver just because Portland seems to always win one game, one series in the playoffs. They don't really ever lose first round.
Plus,
I'm a huge Damian Lillard fan. He's probably my second favorite player in the league now.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to always lose to LeBron. He's kind of the Chicago now in the West. He always loses to LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or I think I'm right about that. I might be wrong actually, but didn't he's lost to LeBron like 3 straight years now? Right?
I think so. Because I remember they beat him last year in the finals because everyone, they made a video of LeBron I was seeing last year. Like, everyone was, saying LeBron was going to lose, but ended up beating him. And when, Dame was starting to dance and everything to, like, Oakland's, like, song or something, then Lakers ended up winning 4, like, next games, winning the series in 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun one, I think, to watch, too, just because Portland always puts in a good fight. But
I mean, Denver really only has Jokic, so as long as you can stop Jokic and Porter, you'll win that series. So I think, I agree with you. I think Portland wins against Denver.
But I'm going to stick with my prediction I've made all year. I think this year's playoffs is gonna be pretty cut and dry. LeBron dominates the West. Brooklyn will win the East. And LeBron could still do it. I said at the beginning of the year that if he could take down this team, that I think that you have to put him and Jordan together on that top shelf. There's no more if or and. They're just both the GOATs.
Oh yeah.
The only thing Brooklyn has going against him, in my opinion, is Harden. He
Yeah.
has never performed in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me
But
wrong.
I think what Harden can't do, you just say, hey, KD, it's the East. Win for us.
Yeah, I think KD ends up going off in the playoffs because it's KD, and KD's one of the best scorers when he's healthy.
But now I do think that LeBron is going to shut his shit down in the finals this year. Because everybody has been talking about how he's LeBron's like slayer, like he's the GOAT slayer. Because those 2 shots he made in Golden State over LeBron. I think if they play the Lakers, Kyrie and Harden are going to have to win that series because I don't think LeBron is letting KD beat him again.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but that's just like that's my genuine gut feeling is that LeBron's going to look at KD and be like, "Hey, not this year, buddy. Your teammates got to beat me."
I agree with that.
Hey, are you going with Brooklyn and Lakers also, David?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Brooklyn and LA too. I mean, the West, it's going to depend on the injury more than anything. But if all healthy and it all stays the same as it is right now, I think it'll be Brooklyn and LA.
I know it's Nick's podcast, but I kind of want to hear everyone's answers to this one. Take out Brooklyn and LA. What would be another finals matchup that you would love to see?
Take out Brooklyn and Lakers.
Yeah, like just they get beat. They get upset. Holy shit, it's over. They're gone. Like whoa, who would you want to see?
Okay, so honestly, if you take the Lakers out of the playoffs, I think
Yeah, let's say they lose in the play-in even. Okay.
Okay.
They don't make the play-in.
That breaks my heart.
So, for me, in the West, I would honestly take Phoenix versus Dallas in the Western Conference Finals because I think Dallas beats the Clippers in round 1, and I think Phoenix beats the Lakers. Beat the Warriors. So then I think Phoenix will be Portland. So then I think Phoenix will beat Dallas. So I think Phoenix will make it to playoffs. Then in the East, I'll stick with the 76ers in the 76ers versus Miami. I think 76ers and Miami in the East because I still think Miami beats Milwaukee. Then I wouldn't mind. I think Phoenix and Miami, because both teams are actually built together, including their benches, and they got some other playmakers. Like they don't have to count on Booker and Paul or Ayton. Like they got other role players and bench players that can help. Like both teams have both of them to help. So I would like to see Miami or Phoenix if Lakers end up losing somehow.
I would say I would love to see, and I think this could easily happen, Dallas playing against, I would say, Milwaukee. I don't think
good series.
Philly has the best. I think that Philly has still, even contending with Brooklyn, on paper, I think that they have a better team in terms of all-around performance. Brooklyn is mainly just offense, but Philly has big men, defensive players.
Yeah.
But they just don't perform, and that's the main reason why they're going to get booted early.
Because Doc is a defensive coach, I think. So Philly is going to be a a good defensive team when it comes to playoffs. I think because you got Ben Simmons, a defensive player of the year candidate. I think he can shut down anybody because he's a really good defensive player. So for me, I think it's going to be like that question Isaiah asked. I think it's a good one would be Phoenix versus Miami.
I'm going Dallas and Philly. Or Dallas and Milwaukee. Sorry.
I would think that if the Lakers were to somehow not make it, I think that I would have to go with. I would actually say the Clippers because I think that would just take off so much pressure off of them, knowing all right, we got to try to get through them. I think if LeBron's not there, then Kawhi can just be Kawhi, and
yeah,
I would want to say I think it'd be cool to see Clippers. Man, I really don't like any of the teams in the East. You know what? Screw it. I'll go with a major upset here. I'll go with the Clippers and Washington in the finals.
Ooh.
I thought about saying Washington too.
Because if Washington beats Brooklyn, that momentum is going to be unreal.
Because
Beal would just get healthier,
and
then after that they would play Milwaukee and Miami, which both of those teams I think would be amazing. Would be an amazing series to play against Washington. So I can see it. I mean, if they can get past Brooklyn, you never know.
I think the Clippers end up choking because Tyronn Lue. I don't know. Something about Lue just I don't like. I don't think he's a good coach because LeBron basically made Lue a good coach. I think LeBron basically coached Lue to tell him to do this, to do that, to do this, run this play. Because we saw in the finals when they were playing the Warriors that, you know, Tyronn Lue was with the other assistant coaches. They were discussing the final play, but LeBron points over here to Kyrie Irving and be like, he wants tell him to shoot the final shot, and, you know, it ended up happening. So for me, I don't think Lue's a good coach.
Well, I agree. I mean, really, any of LeBron's coaches are not good coaches because LeBron is the coach when it comes to on the court. But really, they're just pep talkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how much coaching really even matters anymore. Other than a team like the Knicks, where Thibodeau come over and has rebuilt that roster, other than a few special circumstances, I don't think coaching means anything.
And then Popovich, like, really is the only.
Popovich was the one coach that if LeBron would have went to San Antonio that year, Popovich would have turned him into an even greater version, I feel like, dude. Like, could you imagine a Popovich coach LeBron?
It honestly would be wild. Like, I wonder
that sounds
if
scary.
Yeah, I wonder if heads would butt a lot though there too, because I thought about that.
I don't think their heads would butt because I think LeBron has respect for Popovich because Popovich has been in the league for so long, and Popovich has like 5 rings because, I mean, he's coached, you know, some really good Hall of Famers in Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker. Heck, he even had Kawhi Leonard at one point. But I think those two would, you know, come at a standpoint to agree. I think Popovich would be a good coach for LeBron. I think Popovich would be LeBron's best coach that LeBron's ever had in his career.
That would have been scary, dude. Like, I don't even want to think about it.
Well,
the Warriors would have never had a chance. Curry would not be Curry. Clay wouldn't be Clay. They would just got shit on by LeBron.
Plus, you gotta think. There was one moment. It was Golden State versus the Spurs in the playoffs. Spurs would have won that series if, you know, Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy, but it got Zaza that ended up hurting Kawhi when he went up for that 3-point shot.
Yeah, that I hate that year of the playoffs just because that was the same year that Kyrie and Love got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you got to agree. When LeBron was in the East, there was a lot of lucky chances that Golden State had because they had that year that Paul got hurt, that, you know, Rockets would have won. Then you got that year that Kawhi got hurt. Spurs won one against them. There's a lot of unlucky chances that the teams playing Golden State, they should have ended up winning.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from the NBA playoffs. Then we got a couple more stuff to talk about. Then we'll be done. Is the NBA award races. I want to know who y'all think because I got the list pulled up right here. For the MVP race, we got Jokic, Joel, Giannis, Kawhi, and Curry. For me, I've been saying it for the past couple of podcasts that I did. I think it's Jokic. But I think it's going to be close between Jokic and Curry. Because really, if it wasn't for Curry, Golden State wouldn't be in play-in nor playoffs. But then again, when Jamal went down, Jokic has stepped his game up tremendously. They won their, I think it was 9 out of 13 games, if I'm correct. So for me, I think the MVP comes down to Jokic or Curry.
Well, I just want to know why in the hell that Kawhi Leonard is in the MVP race.
I think it's basically like LeBron, like how LeBron was in MVP race almost every year, but never really truly won. I think it's going to come down to Kawhi now. I think Kawhi's going to be in MVP races now.
That's stupid. I think it's easily Curry. I mean, I get your points and stuff about Jokic, but the thing that separates them, in my opinion, is Golden State is Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just... I mean, they were written off this season.
Yep.
They were not supposed to be anything, and he made them something. So I'm going to say without a shadow of doubt, if it's not Curry, there's something wrong with the... I mean, we all know there's something wrong with MVP, but it's... I'm going to say Curry.
I think that Jokic is going to get LeBron this year. I think he deserves it overall.
Mm-hmm.
Because Curry didn't start playing good till the second half of the season.
Yep.
Jokic just played good all season.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the same thing that happened to LeBron multiple times is going to happen to Jokic here. I agree with David. I think Curry wins it pretty easily, actually. If any of the other three win it, I'm fucking burning this down.
Yeah.
I want a written explanation as to why one of those other three won. Dude.
Honestly, it intrigues me if the Warriors had a healthy Klay Thompson. To what seed? I don't think if they had Klay Thompson, they wouldn't be in a play-in situation. They would be in the playoffs. It intrigues me to see or know what seed the Warriors would be in if they had Klay Thompson this season. Because heck, look what they're doing right now with Klay, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, Oubre, and even Weidman. I really wonder where they would be with Klay Thompson at right now.
I'd say probably 4 or 5.
I think I think the lowest would be 6 for me for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, the West is still tough, so I'd say. Hold on, let me actually look at the standings one more time. I could see them getting that 3rd seed if they're completely healthy.
Okay, then we got the defense. Go ahead, David.
I was just saying, well, yeah, because Klay is a really good defensive player too. So
yeah, that is true. Klay's a really good defensive player because I think it wasn't he guarding Kevin Love in the finals that they had KD and he shut down Kevin Love. He can guard the 1, Klay. He can guard the 1 through 5. I'll say 1 through 4. He can guard.
Klay usually shadowed LeBron most of this series. Because he was the only one that could put a body in front of him. Because Draymond could. Draymond's too slow.
Yeah.
And Klay's not much faster, but Klay's not really afraid of... He's kind of like a Jimmy Butler. He'll get in your way. You might still score, but you gotta go through him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now defensive player of the year. We got Ben Simmons, Rudy Gobert, Giannis, of course. We got Bam. Then we got Turner from the Indiana Pacers. For me, I'm going Ben Simmons when it comes to defense player of the year.
What's Simmons' steals per game and stuff?
He's not in the top 5 in any of them.
Go Bear.
You're going to go Bear?
I want to say go. I actually I really want to say even Miles Turner because averaging almost 4 blocks a game is pretty impressive.
Bam also
Yeah.
plays good defense too.
Giannis isn't in top 5.
Nah.
So-
Say honest.
But for me, I
No.
said Ben Simmons. Isaiah said
I'm going to go with. I think Simmons will win it just because of the videos I've been watching. No one's really giving anyone else a chance.
Yeah.
But I would like to say Gobert just because I'm a Gobert guy. But I think Simmons wins it.
Yeah, I think Simmons wins it also because when I see Simmons, guard the best players when he guards the best players in the game, they end up not doing so well. They don't end up doing so well like they play in the last games before they play the 76ers.
Who won it last year? Did
Uh,
Giannis win it last
Yeah,
year?
Giannis, because everyone was raging because he won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year last year because everyone was raging how he won it over AD last year because AD should honestly won it last year because he was playing tremendous, amazing defense last year, but everyone was raging because you got Giannis over here.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Giannis should ever be included because he don't guard big names.
No, because I remember last year when they were playing Miami in the playoffs in the bubble, he was he didn't want to guard like Butler, and everyone's like,
He stayed
"Oh, why
on
do you not
Bam
want to
the
guard the huh?"
He stayed on Bam the whole game, didn't he?
Yeah, because everyone was like, "Why don't you guard the best player?" or something like that, and I can't remember his response. But next game, it was like game 4 or something. He ended up guarding Jimmy, but because everyone was giving him crap for not guarding the best player on the team.
This next one's pretty cut and dry.
For Rookie of the Year, we got Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball. Then I can't remember the point guard from the Kings. Then we got Maxey. I think that's Maxey from New York. Then we got I think that's Kevin Porter Jr. Right? Yeah, I think that's Kevin Porter Jr. for the Rockets. I think. I can't remember. But for me, it's going to be LaMelo Ball for Rookie of the Year, no doubt. Because for me, if it wasn't for LaMelo, Charlotte Hornets wouldn't be in a playing right now.
Yeah. I'm saying LaMelo too because he's all over the stat sheet.
Oh yeah,
Ant
and he's
is
having a better
really
rookie
good
year than
scorer.
Lonzo.
Yeah, I mean Ant's a really good scorer and all that, but LaMelo I think impacts the team a lot more than Ant does.
I think LaMelo will have a better future than Lonzo, in my opinion, which he already is right now because LaMelo is already scoring better and putting up better stats than Lonzo did in his freshman year. Because it's taken Lonzo till this year to actually put up decent numbers than his rest of his career. So for me, it's going to be LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball deserves Rookie of the Year because Anthony Edwards hasn't started doing good until after the All-Star break toward the end of the season. So for me, it's LaMelo Ball.
Agreed.
Then for most improved, we got Julius Randle. Then we got Deion Grant, Michael Porter Jr., Zion, and we got Christian Wood. For me, any of those players can win it. I like all those players. For me, anybody can win it. I think the most improved player will go down to between Michael Porter Jr. and Julius Randle because they're both balling out because Michael Porter Jr. has honestly stepped up since Jamal Murray's went down. But at the same time, Julius Randle is basically the Knicks. If Julius Randle is on fire and doing good, playing good that game, the Knicks win that game. So for me, it's going to come down to Michael Porter Jr. and Julius Randle, and I think I go with Julius Randle winning most improved.
I'm 100% going Julius Randle here. Michael Porter Jr. has stepped it up, but the Knicks were a right-off team too, and Julius Randle turned them into something special.
Because everyone was
I don't even see why Zion's on this list. His stats are not that much more impressive than last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Julius Randle, Like, he's just like, there's some games that he'll just go off, like, from 3-point range. Like, he'll shoot, like, he'll make 7 3-pointers you don't expect a big man to make. Like, for me, its most improved player will be Julius Randle, of course. Like I said, whenever Julius Randle does good, the Knicks win. If he doesn't end up doing good, they lose. So, most improved player, the Knicks. Then we got the sixth player of the year is
Man of the year.
yeah, sixth man of the year. I say sixth player. LOL. Is Terrence Clark. Then we got Harrell, Derrick Rose, Terrence Clark, and I can't remember the 76ers player. But for me, it's going to be Terrence Clark because he's balling right now. He comes off the bench. Even Dwayne Wade said Terrence Clark should win sixth man of the year because the way he comes off the bench. I mean, heck, he's playing tremendous. He's playing amazing without Donovan Mitchell right now. Like the last 5 to 6 games without Donovan Mitchell, he's averaged like 30 points a game. And there's one game he scored like 42 points. So for me, 6 man of the year goes to Jordan Clarkson.
Oh, that is Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
The Jazz player. I would have to probably say Jordan Clarkson on that. I don't really know much about the other players. Is that Terrence Ross, the
Terrence
Orlando
Ross.
guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we don't care about him.
Because
Derrick
Montrezl
Rose,
Harrell.
I mean, he's had some good games, but I don't think he's been having the games that Clarkson has been having.
No, because Montrezl Harrell, he's not having the best 6 man of the year like he had with the Clippers because he had to, adjust his game playing with, LeBron because, man, you got to adjust your game when you're playing with LeBron, of course. But he's not averaging like he did last year, I think. He's not playing like he did last year. Derrick Rose, he was out for a while. They just didn't want to, have him getting hurt. So, because he didn't start playing good until, toward the end of the season, with the 10 games left. So, for me, 6 man of the year is on Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, I would think if anything, you would say Rose would be second, but no one's been as consistent as Clarkson.
One more question, boys, before I end the Good Old podcast. And the news came out today about Mac McClung entering the NBA draft.
Oh, God.
No.
About Mac
Bitch.
about Mac McClung entering the NBA draft. Is it a good or bad decision? For me, it's a terrible decision. He should have.
Terrible.
He should have stayed in the NBA draft. Not NBA draft. He should have taken his name out of the NBA draft because I think one more year would have helped him a lot more. Unless, there's scouts telling him that he's going to get picked up in the late second round. But for me, I think it's a terrible decision for Mac going into the NBA draft this year.
I agree. He's a GD idiot. They didn't teach him shit in college, apparently. This motherfucker was going to class and doing shit and playing ball. And I'm pissed about it because he needed to stay one more year. GD it. I'm pissed. And now we're not going to get to see him play in the NBA. We're going to either get to see him sit the effing bench and be in a dunk contest, whoop-de-doo, or we're going to get to see him in a GD and one tournament. Playing for Dad Gun wearing Shaq's brand. Good job, buddy. You could have been wearing Nike. Stay one more year.
I agree.
I agree that I think one more year could have definitely benefited him. I don't even think he should stay to Texas Tech. You're bringing in a new coach. So you're once again in a new, pretty much a rebuilding system. He had offers from coaches like John Calipari to come play for Kentucky.
Yep.
I mean, you could even go to Kentucky a year.
I told Watts, because he's a Kentucky fan, I was like, dude, if you guys land Mac, I think Calipari improves his game tremendously because Calipari puts out NBA talent like crazy. You can tell by just looking at the players in the NBA today. So I was actually wanting, Mac to transfer to Kentucky. or just stay at Texas Tech to help his college resume better. But no, he decides to keep his name in the draft, and he's going to be in the draft next year. I mean, this year coming up.
Well, I'm very, very pissed about it.
I'm not too happy about it either. I don't think Mac ends up. I don't think Mac end up getting picked. I think my theory is the only reason he's keeping his name. There's some scouts and other people that's telling him that he might get a good draft grade. I think that's why he's staying in the draft, because everyone probably told him that he has a good draft grade. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't have a good draft, I mean, he
only averaged 15 points his senior, or not his senior year, but his junior year.
I mean, in the conference he was playing, he did come second behind Cunningham, Oklahoma's player. But for me, I think he should just stay one more year, but he's not. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's a bad
decision. I'm guessing with him going that
he got a good draft grade.
With him going, someone has told him, we will pick you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. Is that someone in the second round has said, hey, if you're still there, we're going to draft you. Go to the draft.
Well, I really think that if teams really look into it enough, they can see the talent is clearly there. It just has to be woven into the right fit for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to Google something right now.
But I would fear if he transferred again, just because I don't know if teams look into that as seriously or not, but like the commitment, they would feel like there would be a commitment issue.
What position would you guys say he would be drafted as? It would have to be point guard, right?
That's where he would have to go, but I don't think he's a point guard. I think he would fit more as a shooting guard, but his height limits him to having to play the point guard position.
Because I just looked at the point guards going into this year's draft, and he definitely chose a rough year to go.
Yep.
You got Cade Cunningham, Trey Mann, Davion Mitchell, the Tennessee's Jaden Springer, Louisville's David Johnson, DJ Stewart from Duke, and that's all the way down to the number 12 ranked point guard is DJ Stewart, who I think is still better than Mac McClung.
Yep.
After the 12, I think you might could argue that he might be better or just as good as the players that are left. But there's 22 point guards right now on the board before his name has been added.
Mm-hmm.
And then shooting guard wise, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Green, Keon Johnson, just a lot of good shooting guards too. That Brandon Boston guy from Kentucky, I don't know, man. I just can't help but think that one more year could have benefited him.
One more year would have definitely helped him out so much. He would have been drafted next year for sure if he would have stayed.
Let's see if they've not updated it yet. 2022 NBA.
You looking up the mock draft
next year? I'm looking up the rankings for the actual draft class.
Because he would have been Texas Tech's main scorer for next year, no doubt.
Yeah, let me see. I'm just scrolling through real quick, see if I can find his name, see where they had him ranked at next year.
They probably already updated or took him out since he already declared that he's going to leave.
They might have, because he's on. I don't actually see him anywhere on this list.
Well, I guess we all come to the conclusion it was a bad idea for Mac to enter the draft. Unless, some way, are they having an NBA draft combine this year?
They should.
Well, unless he gets invited or something or impresses the scouts, I mean, heck, he might do something or get drafted, but who knows. But for us, we all three said it was a bad idea for Mac to go draft. Well, I hope he gets drafted.
Yeah, I'm trying to read these articles to see what people are saying. trying to skim through it. No one's really coming out and saying. He's not listed among the top 75 prospects
Mm-hmm.
for this year. He's not in the top 75.
Yeah.
So that's. Let me see. There's just 2 rounds in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's 32 teams, so that's 64. So 64 picks, and you're not ranked in the top 75. That does not look good.
Nah. Cause there's really way better players than him in this year's draft.
And just a little, what's the word? Can't think of what the word I want to use is. If Mac McClung or any Kansas City fans do watch this, don't kill us.
They'll be like, hey, they don't know where we live though. we live in Kingsport, Tennessee.
I do wish him all the best, obviously.
Yeah.
Hopefully he does get drafted, and who knows, maybe it'll be one of those stories where he falls all the way down to like 32 and
Goes to the Lakers.
gets selected by the Lakers or the Nets, and by God, just goes
He's
off. So.
the Tom Brady of basketball.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go,
That
Mac.
would be pretty cool. He just somehow, balls out. Dude, he just balls out and becomes like Klay Thompson 2.0. A really good shooter in the NBA. It's all about the fundamentals. It's all about the fundamentals, dude. You gotta bend those elbows.
If you think Mac McClung's fundamental, then you need to go get off whatever drugs you're taking.
I do think if he doesn't get drafted, that he'll be signed at least to a summer league contract
Yeah.
to have a chance to maybe earn a spot. But I don't know, man.
Well, it's podcast. That's gonna do it. I want to thank my cousin Isaiah and my friend,
No name.
my friend David Coy for coming on my podcast today, talking NBA.
God, he said your last name. At least he didn't say mine.
Oh gosh.
Lost now. Oh, God.
But but once again, guys, thank you guys for joining, and thank you guys for watching. Whoever was watching, all you guys, thank you guys so much. And just keep an eye out for